Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Side Chat with Nation, the home of premium sports content. And on today's edition of Side Chat, we're going to be talking about a pertinent issue that is African football. The past 1 week has been very busy in the African continent because of the AFCON tournament that came to a completion at this on February 6th, I beg your pardon. So I felt it necessary to talk about some of the lessons that you're going to be learning from the just concluded AFCON tournament. And joining me today on Side Chat with Nation is and journalists who are going to be helping me to make sense of the relevant conversations in the African continent. Without much further ado, time for me to introduce the panel that is joining me on today's episode of Side Chat with Nation. We have Mohamed Abubakar, who works at CGTN Africa as a sports journalist. Mohamed, welcome to Side Chat with Nation. Also, I have Karen Jerenga. Karen Jerenga is a marketing and communications professional. Joining me all the way from South Africa is Filani Ndlela, who's going to be adding his voice from the southern part of Africa. And also joining all the way from Ghana is Eugene Ofori Soti. If you watched previous videos on the channel, Eugene won, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, we were talking with him about matters AFCON. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Side Chat with Nation. Maybe as we set this conversation starting, I feel it is important for us to start things from back home. Mohamed Abubakar, Kenya was conspicuously missing from this year's AFCON tournament. Maybe you can talk to us about what are some of the factors that you maybe think contributed to that.
Thank you so much, Nashin. We had to start with that, yeah?
Yeah, we had to, and we're just diving right into it.
Well, I think based on the back of having a good number of East African representatives in the previous edition in Egypt, 2019, it was very disappointing that this time round, East Africa had a huge absence in the tournament. We only had Ethiopia, who presented East Africa. They did not go past the group stage, which was again a poor showing from East Africa as well, not having a team from this side of the continent go further in the competition. But let me speak about Kenya. One of the major issues with Kenyan football has always been off the pitch, not on the pitch, personally. My view, that is. And the fact that the federation was, from the moment we got done with 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt with Sebastian Minye as the head coach, we noticed there was a good amount of consistency in terms of decision making from before, from the qualifiers, where we beat Ghana on the road to qualifying for Egypt 2019. I know we got a bit lucky with the suspension of Sierra Leone in that qualifying group as well, but then again, there was consistency and focus in terms of preparations, because early preparations is very key for any major competition. And by preparations, we mean qualifiers, and having a consistent team with a coach who is trying to put in his or her ideas to the team prior to going into a major competition. So having said that, past 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, as we all know, Sebastian Minye split. I mean, he resigned as the head coach. Some say he was sacked. We're yet to know the exact truth. But following that, we had a number of changes in the coaches as well. We had Francis Kimanzi take over as head coach. We had Ghost Mulee, who came back up, I think, for a third stint with the Kenyan team, which I feel personally in a very crucial time where, of course, COVID-19 played a huge part as well. Let's not forget that. The fact that teams did not meet in good time to prepare for their qualifying matches, international breaks were pushed or rather postponed. We had a time where we played around 3 games in one international break. But that aside, the fact that Kenya were not prepared beforehand, because early preparations is key, and the fact that you keep changing coaches destabilizes the team as well. I feel that was the main reason why we fell short, because if you look at our group, we failed to beat the likes of Comoros. I know Comoros went on to become, the talks of AFCON, but then again, not being able to win a single game until the last one that, was pretty much a dead rubber match was unfortunate. And but I would put it down to the fact that we kept changing coaches in a qualifier period. So this basically destabilizes the team, because each coach has his players that he wants in the team, or maybe trying to push his style of play. And bear in mind, this time we rarely had domestic football happening as well. So players were not playing the domestic leagues as well. So for a coach to try and pick players and try to see which players suits his style was a bit difficult as well, because if you have no local league going on, it's a bit difficult as well. And this has been going on across the continent. I mean, I won't say this is a specific issue with Kenya, but I'd say having those changes in coaches played a huge part for me personally.
Okay. I know when I mentioned Comoros, my friend from Ghana, that Eugene, felt like throwing a stone on this. Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene, I know Comoros tainted the dreams of Ghana progressing to the next round of the competition. From a Ghana perspective, there's been a lot of developments that has been happening in terms of changes of coach. You remember when you're going into this AFCON tournament, the coach that was tasked with the responsibility is the same coach that Ghana had during the World Cup tournament in 2010. Which dynamics do you think worked against Ghana this time round in this year's AFCON tournament?
What happened was after the sacking of Charles Kabula-Kano due to the Ghana Football Association felt that Charles Kabula-Kano was, and so and instead of doing a proper selection of a coach, the FA decided to look for a quick fix. To them, they needed someone who had a bit of knowledge about the team, who had coached Ghana before, had an insight into how to mold this whole team. And so they decided to go and take Milovan Rahebak. But that failed because the kind of players Milovan Rahebak met in his first stint almost had all retired. I think he was left with Jonathan Mensah and Andre Dede Ayew. They were the ones he met in that 2010 squad performance at the World Cup. It was a different crop of players, a new era of players, very young players who are going to be fit against a very old coach. And it wasn't a match made in heaven. And so it backfired. Also, Milovan Rahebak didn't have a strong hand over the dressing room. A lot of the players had their way in the team. Or we had situations where injured players were taken into the AFCON. For example, Mubarak Wakaso had issues with injury. He was injured for about 6 months, and he was taken to the AFCON. And the explanation from the technical team was that they felt that he would be ready by the quarterfinal. I mean, in which footballing world would you take an injured player to a major tournament when you would need other players? We had Alfred Duncan. He plays in the Serie A with Fiorentina, a very good player, midfielder who could have replaced him, but he decided to go to Mubarak Wakaso. We had issues with the coach could not handle the players. There were egos in the team. When you look at players, because they did not want, they felt those players were competing with them for space in the team. And so if their players were scoring goals, were producing better performances, they would have to be benched. And so what critically, the Ghanaian team lacked commitment. It was until the game against Comoros, the last 30 minutes. And so when you saw the commitment, Ghana scored 2 goals within 53 matches. They didn't show commitment. We were not seeing leadership from the team. The body language of the players was smacking of disrespect. And I could say on authority that a member of the Black Stars team spoke to somebody I know, and he indicated that he doesn't care anymore about what Ghanaians think. Ghanaians will always berate about the performance, just complain, and then they will go on with their lives. There was no commitment. They didn't care about the outcome. And this is Ghana's worst ever AFCON outing. We've gone to the AFCON about 23 times.
Eugene, I've lost you.
And this is our worst ever. Please, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I had lost you for a moment.
Okay, we had a situation where in the game against Gabon, Andy Yadom, the right back who plays for Reading in the championship in the United Kingdom, was injured. He signaled to the bench to substitute him, and then some players in the team deem him fit enough to continue because I think whoever is going to replace him is not better to play. And so in the next Comoros, he was not on the match day squad for the team. It was a young player called Philemon Bafo who was supposed to play in the game. Then some key figures in the impressed upon the coach to drop that player and still filled in a half-fit Andy Yadom. And those were the situations that cost the Black Stars, where the players holding the coach, allowing the coach to work. Also, in Ghana, we have a system where we have a management committee who oversee the Black Stars. Maybe for other countries, they have technical team. Apart from our technical team, we have a management committee, which is set out by the FA, manage us. Now, they are supposed to be in charge of every other thing, operations of the Black Stars. And I think they failed because the hotel room they slept in Cameroon was a noisy atmosphere. I think there was a nightclub around, and so the players could not sleep and they could not have maximum concentration. A lot of the players could not sleep, and so they were not focused in the games. That's what really cost the Black Stars. So one, our coach was tactically inept. The situations where his changes were heavily criticized by Ghanaians. Remember in the game against Morocco, he made his changes only after the goal from Soufiane Boufal, and he defended it himself in the post-match press conference, saying he thought it was not needed. However, if you critically analyze the situation, he felt the changes were not needed, but he only did the change after Ghana considered the goal, which means he knew the players were weak. They lacked the match fitness to continue, but he filled them until the last day. A lot of Ghanaians are angry about the body language of the players. And one thing about Ghanaians is that Ghanaians do not learn from their past experiences. This is our worst ever AFCON outing. However, after this, we seem to be just going forward without having a sit down, a proper planning to understand the situation. As I'm speaking to you now, after coming back, the FA has not apologized to the Ghanaians. It's the ministry that called the GFA to a meeting and then asked the GFA to sack the manager and the technical team and then the Black Stars committee. Today, the sports committee in Parliament has summoned the Ghana Football Association, our Ministry of Youth and Sports, and our National Sports Authority to have a meeting, do a proper prognosis of the Ghana's worst ever AFCON outing to understand the issues. We hear Andre Dedeayu, the skipper of the Black Stars, will be invited to the committee, and then he will also iron out the issues. He will explain to us what happened, what led to our poor AFCON outing. And so far, that's the situation in Ghana. In terms of coaching, for the 2 games against Nigeria, the FA has once again gone for a quick fix. Otto Addo, he's a trainer scout in Borussia Dortmund. He's supposed to be the interim coach for those 2 matches as well. We have a coach from the Aston Villa under-23, assistant manager at the Aston Villa under-23. His name is George Boateng. He's going to be on the technical team. Then we have Masoud Didi Dramani. He's also a very experienced coach. He's coached Asante Kotoko in Ghana. He has been at FC Norgeland. He has coached Ghana's Black Maidens, Ghana's Black Princesses. He's a very experienced coach in the Ghanaian scene. He's now the technical director for the Right to Dream Academy. It's this Right to Dream Academy that has produced Kamaldeen Sulemana, the Rennes player. It's the same team that has produced Mohamed Kudus, the Ajax forward. So he's a very experienced man in terms of player development and in terms of managing the team. He's also going to be in the team. Then we have Chris Hughton, former Newcastle United manager, former Brighton and Hove Albion manager, former Nottingham Forest manager. He's also now our technical director. From the information I'm picking, it looks like after the game against Nigeria, whether Ghana wins or not, we have hand over team to Chris Hughton because it looks like the other 3 people we have chosen are part-timers. Otuado works at Dortmund as his full-time job, so the Black Stars is his part-time job. He was not part of the technical team for the AFCON tournament, and it got a lot of Ghanaians questioning his commitment to Ghana. If he was not going to come to the AFCON, why did he accept the job to be an assistant manager for Ghana when he knew he would not be at the AFCON? It got a lot of Ghanaians to question, did he have a problem with Milovan Rajevac? Because it was clear that Milovan Rajevac, let me use this word in quote, he's a very stubborn manager. He does not listen to the instructions of his assistants. He's sort of heavy-headed in his decision-making. He always makes decisions on his own, and he's liable for whatever happens to him. And so he suffered for it. He was sacked. Now, George Barty also works with Aston Villa as an assistant manager. Therefore, he cannot be fully committed to the Black Stars. Mas Udidi Dramani, as I indicated to you, also works with Right to Dream Academy as a technical manager. Therefore, Chris Hughton, after the Nigeria game, will take over the reins as the Black Stars. What is shocking to me is how a country can compare the CVs of Chris Hughton, who has managed from 1993 till date, and Otuado started coaching from 2009, deem it fit to give the coaching job to Otuado, who has less experience, who has never really coached a team. He has been an assistant manager. Coaching team after their worst ever, after performance, after 40 years of not winning the trophy, our worst ever performance, we give our national team, which is undergoing rebuilding, to a coach who has never coached even a club before. That shows the FA is not serious about what they are doing. So I would love to really see after the Nigeria game what happens, whether Chris Hughton will be given the full handling by DFA. Let me give you an understanding of the situation. Chris Hughton was the government's choice. A very influential person in the Ghanaian government decided that after the poor selection of the GFA in selecting Charles Kwabena and Milovan Rajevac, they felt the GFA had failed Ghanaians, and therefore they needed to, because they pay the salaries of the coaches. And remember, they've not finished paying the salaries of CK Akono. Milovan Rajevac has had a lot of debts they have to clear, and now if they made another bad selection, it means there'll be a lot of bad debt they need to clear. And so they needed to step up and make a very good selection of a coach, which was an affront to FIFA's rules, but they decided to stay their ground to prevent the GFA from having their hand and selecting another bad coach again. Then the GFA decided to go for Otuado. So to sort of as a way of serving both parties, the GFA decided to select Otuado, their choice, and select Chris Hughton, the government choice, and blend them together. Ghanaians are really, really eager to see on match day against Nigeria on the 24th of March how it's going to be, because we are yet to understand how it's going to happen. Whether if Chris Hughton gives an advice to Otuado, he would be eager to take it, whether he's binded to take it, and how a senior officer or a senior coaching official will be giving advice to a younger coaching official, and the coaching official, the younger one, will decide whether he takes that decision or not. Ghana is at its lowest footballing ebb, and it seems the FA officials are not ready to take up the mantle and lead Ghana from the trenches to its pivot where it used to be. So that's the situation in Ghana as at now.
Okay, thank you so much, Eugene.